Stop me if you've heard this before. The LSU Fighting Tigers have the most talent and the most production returning at the wide receiver position. And Southeastern 14 is here to break it down for why the Tigers are going to be extremely explosive in this 2023 SEC season. Hello, everyone. I'm Blaine Gilmer. Welcome to Southeastern 14. I covered football here for Southeastern 14 during the offseason. Chris Lee, Blake Lovell did a great job bringing everybody through basketball season. They're going to be going in depth in baseball. Of course, LSU baseball is a huge thing as well in the SEC. But right now, we're going to be talking about the wide receiver room here in Baton Rouge. Guys, when it comes down to it, LSU has a just collection of talent in that room that is there's no equal to it right now in the SEC, and it's one of the better ones in the entire country. When you talk about Malik Neighbors, when you talk about the addition of guys like Aaron Anderson, when you talk about even some of the depth guys that they have there. Jayden Daniels, and even if it had to be Garrett Nussmeier, that's another situation for LSU. They've got two quarterbacks that have proven they can produce. Even so much so in the second half of that SEC championship game when they were facing Georgia last year, Garrett Nussmeier looked like, he could create some questions going into this year at that position. But Jayden Daniels comes back, and he is going to have such a not only depth of talent around him, but the depth of experience as well and production. They're returning 67.5% of the receiving production from the 2022 team that won the SEC West title. And it all starts with none other than the number one receiver, Malik Neighbors. Neighbors really came into his own last year, 72 receptions, 1,017 yards, only 3 touchdowns on the year. And I think that's a lot to do with how productive Jayden Daniels was, in the red zone, running the football himself. So didn't have as many to throw it around, but 6 foot, 199 pounds. He's listed, a Louisiana guy himself from Youngsville, Louisiana, Southside High School. So Malik Neighbors is a guy that Georgia tried to get in on late. Ole Miss was after. A lot of people, coveted him out of high school, but he ends up coming to Baton Rouge, and now Brian Kelly has a legitimate number one guy. And anytime you have that connection coming back, okay, a guy that Jayden Daniels knows, hey, on third down, my guy is going to find a way to create some separation, or even if he's not open, he's open because he's going to go make a contested catch for me. Malik Neighbors definitely should have another huge year for LSU in 2023. Brian Thomas Jr., he bumps up a notch with Kayshon Boutte and with Jeray Jenkins gone. Brian Thomas is going to see a little bit more of the share in terms of the load of catches and things of that nature. He ended up being the 5th leading receiver last year for LSU. 31 catches, averaged 11.6 yards per catch, had 5 touchdowns. So listen, at 6'4", 200 pounds, Brian Thomas is a guy who provides Jayden Daniels with the benefit of, okay, I can throw this ball up. I can get some 50-50 action going, because as you see in this picture, he's going to be able to go up and high point the football, catch it over top of defenders. He can stretch the field with his speed, back shoulder throws in the red zone, so many different options. He's the type of guy that with that height, you'll see him, in the red zone with what Mike Denbrock likes to do. They can run some of that play action, get him going from a different side of the field and run him across the back line of that end zone. And that gives the quarterback the benefit of just throwing that ball high enough where the rest of the defense is unable to reach it. But Brian Thomas Jr. can go up and get it. I think he's going to have a big year as LSU's, going into the year as the number 2 receiver. Kyron Lacey, a senior, transferred in from Louisiana Lafayette. Back when Billy Napier life was good for him, he was playing over there. And when it comes down to it, Kyron Lacey is just that tough. He brings that toughness about him. He's a thicker bodied guy, 212 to 215 pounds. He can play at from Thibodaux, Louisiana. And when it comes down to it, you need a chain mover like a Kyron Lacey. Okay. He's a guy who had 24 catches for 268 yards. Didn't have a touchdown last year, but like I said, in key situations, I think you're going to see Kyron Lacey take some of that role that Jeray Jenkins had last year. Gets in and out of breaks well, but it's that toughness and that grit that I think you're going to see from him that is going to help this LSU team. Aaron Anderson. Okay. Aaron Anderson is a guy who, as you can see there, went to Edna Karr High School out of New Orleans and ended up leaving the state of Louisiana and going to Alabama. 5-star recruit, 5'8", 180 pounds, brings some quickness to him, is dangerous in the return game. He was injured and things just didn't really work out at Alabama. So he enters the portal and he's coming back home. Now he's in Baton Rouge. And listen, he's a guy that I think is going to help LSU specifically in the return game. I think you can pencil him in right now being a punt returner, kick returner type deal for LSU. But, he should be able to do some things in the slot. Mike Denbrock is very creative in how he uses those guys. And I think the production could be limited somewhat in terms of a role and things like that with all the guys out there that LSU has to throw the ball to. But I think when Aaron Anderson does touch the football, it could be explosive and there should be a high level of efficiency there. So look for Aaron Anderson to impact mostly this year, probably in the return game, but then also, there's going to be some big play opportunities there for him as well. I don't know that the volume of catches is going to be extremely high, but I think that he will definitely provide some efficiency and some explosivity there for the LSU wide receiver room. Chris Hilton. Okay, Chris Hilton, 6 foot, 183 pounds, another Louisiana guy. So you're talking about every guy that we've listed so far from the state of Louisiana. That means a lot to this roster. That means a lot to that community there. So when you're talking about guys who are from the state of Louisiana, they want to play for that purple and gold, not only just, to be on the team and things like that, but it matters to them. Okay. That they're excited and have a pride about playing for LSU. Cortez Hankton himself is a Louisiana guy. He's the passing game coordinator, wide receivers coach. He recruited a lot of these guys while he was at Georgia. So he has a long-lasting relationship with a lot of these guys. So I think you're going to see that part of it pay dividends as well for LSU. Now let's talk about some true freshmen as well. These guys may or may not make a huge impact this year, but a tremendous class that Cortez Hankton, Brian Kelly, Mike Denbrock brought in the 2023 class. You've got Jalen Brown from Miami, a 6'1", 173-pound guy from Gulliver Prep that, they play quality football down there, and he should be able to adjust. He and Kyle Parker, early enrollees, so they're getting the benefit of the spring practice. Kyle Parker from Allen, Texas, Lovejoy High School, a more diminutive type guy, 5'11", 190 pounds, but explosive out there as well. And then they'll have Shelton Sampson coming in, not a early enrollee. He's coming in for the fall, but he's out of Baton Rouge right there, Catholic in Baton Rouge, and 6'4", 181 pounds, another big body guy, kind of in that mold of Brian Thomas Jr. Going to have to add a little bit of weight there. But another Louisiana guy added to that room this fall. They'll have a guy who's already been there, redshirt freshman Landon Ibieta, 5'11". He's a Louisiana guy as well. Had a little bit of playing time last year, so he could help out in the slot. Also transfer, outside as well. Go out there and play on the outside. So Landon Ibieta could be a guy that does some really good things for LSU. But a guy that you've got to throw into the mix here, even though he's not technically a wide receiver, Mason Taylor comes back, and that's huge. Okay, because Mason Taylor was the third leading receiver on this team and had some major catches, of course, in the Alabama game. Everybody knows what happened there with a 2-point conversion. He's had some tremendous, red zone reps in terms of being able to win balls that were, 50-50 balls, or maybe even that he shouldn't have caught, but has got strong hands, goes up, big bodied guy, goes up and gets the football. So that's always a tremendous. You've seen what their opponent last year in the SEC championship game, Georgia, has done with the tight end position. Mason Taylor brings some of that element to LSU in terms of a tight end that not only is physical enough to block his tail off in the run game, but does a great job of being a mismatch in the passing game as well. So LSU is going to be hard to handle when it comes to their passing game and the amount of production they have coming back at the wide receiver position. Like I said, 67.5% of their receiving production comes back, and that's a big deal for Jayden Daniels. Also, you got Jayden Daniels going from year one kind of drinking through a fire hose, if you will, of getting Mike Denbrock's system down, everything, competing for a job, all this kind of stuff. Now he comes into this year a little bit more settled, year two of the system. I think you could see a jump in the production, the efficiency of this passing game, especially with all of this talent and experience coming back. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. But LSU, this is one reason that I have them as my preseason favorite to repeat in the SEC West, is because the wide receiver room is absolutely loaded. I'm Blaine Gilmer. This is Southeastern 14. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and we will catch you next time on Southeastern 14.